Hey, this is Yazuki Wolf, and today's Benkyoukai is going to be a bit of an excursion, a virtual study abroad, if you will. So these are just going to be little kind of fun videos that we'll put in between the more formal lessons, because I'm a big advocate of full immersion kind of language study. What that means is that you shouldn't always just be sheltered in your classroom, only experiencing the language in sort of a curated fashion, but you should actually try to get used to jumping out there and just experience it in the raw, you know. So one thing to keep in mind is that these videos, these are not going to be tailor-made for your current lessons. They may be more or less in the right level. I mean, I'll pick things that are in the general level of where we are in the normal classes, but expect to not understand a good amount of what goes on in these, because what we're doing now, we're just getting into the language raw, jumping in there. And just as a personal experience for me when I came to Japan, quick aside, when I first came here, you know, I understood maybe 10% of what was spoken to me, and it was really frustrating. And actually that frustration was what spurred me on to keep learning the language and keep getting better. And the thing is, though, because I was experiencing the language in the raw, and I would go out there and I would just whatever I could do in Japanese, I would try to do it in Japanese. So if I was reading comics, I would read them try to read them in Japanese. If I was using my phone, I would keep the Japanese user interface instead of switching to the English one, just so that you get used to seeing things. And even if there's like 75% of the stuff you don't understand, you do the best you can with the 25 you can understand, and after a while you start picking up the other parts, and it's just kind of starts seeping into your overall linguistic consciousness. I could go more into depth about this kind of philosophy, but I'll save that for a separate video. For now, let's just jump right in. So I'm getting this comic from Twikomi. It's twicomi.com, and it's in the manga section there. This is a Japanese website. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at this site in case you wanted to check this out on your own time. I think if you did come to this site, especially if you're on the same level as the videos I've been doing with just learning Hiragana and Katakana, you're just going to have to understand that you're not going to understand about 95% of what's on this site right now. You may only be able to pick up little bits and pieces, but that's all right. Just approach it sort of like how you know, when you were in school and you had worksheets that had like the secret code that you had to decipher letter by letter, and you would like solve problems that would then give you the key to each letter, and you would unlock the final code, the final message of the worksheet. I don't know how many of you did that in school. I definitely did. But if you could kind of think of it like that, where you're a cipher kind of just decoding this hidden message, then you may get something out of this, and it may be enjoyable to you. Just understand that you're not going to just read through the comics like you were reading through like an English translation and understand everything that's going on all the time. All right, here we are. It's at twikomi.com. It's twicomi.com, and right here you can already start testing some of your katakana reading skills if you've been practicing that. Katakana is very useful at the beginning because you can read it without knowing Japanese words, because they're basically just approximations of English words or non-Japanese words. So for example, here we have first we have the manga ichiran. So this is manga ichiran, and the manga ichiran is just a list of the manga on the site. Next to that we have ranking. It says ranking, that's ranking, so rankings, right? That's just an English word, and it's written in katakana. Then we have randamu, so random, randamu. I'm really bad at pronouncing katakana words because I just can't help but pronounce it with the English pronunciation. So, but this is random. So then over here we have help, and down here we have the, like here it says follow, so that's the follow button. There's a lot of things you can get from this just by here we have follower, right? Just if you just learn katakana, you already can start deciphering a lot of this. So I'm going over hiragana right now in my series because hiragana is going to be more useful for the actual learning Japanese lessons. But if you just want to start reading and testing things out, I'd strongly recommend on your own time to just practice the katakana, and then come to sites like this, and you could just start picking out the katakana words, and you'll probably be able to figure out a lot of them because they're based on English. And now, obviously, if you want to check this out on your own, manga ichiran will be your just general list of manga. Rankings will give you the top rated manga. Random will just give you a random manga, and so forth. So go ahead and give that a shot when you have a chance. And let's go into the manga that I chose for this video. So here we are back with the specific manga that I chose to feature for this video. And I chose this manga because if you look at it, it has a lot of katakana and hiragana and not very much, and doesn't have a lot of kanji. So I think that's a good place to start with. Once again, keep in mind you're probably not going to understand 100% of this because you haven't gone through grammar of any of that yet. And I think that's something that's the kind of attitude I want you to have when you go into these virtual study abroad videos, because you know, when I first came to Japan, I didn't understand 90% of what was going on, and then I just went out there. Whatever I could do in Japanese, I tried my best to do it in Japanese. Like if I have a phone, I would keep the UI in Japanese. If I was trying to read a comic or something, I would do my best to read the Japanese version of it. And yeah, at first you only understand maybe 10%, but then after a while you start getting more and more. And just even in the just general study abroad sense, when you're out there talking to people, someone might say something to you and you may only understand 2 words out of the whole sentence that they said, but those 2 words might be enough for you to figure out from context clues what they're trying to indicate to you. And that sort of like struggle of figuring that out, that actually kind of motivates you to learn more and to try to figure out more, because it goes back to that whole like cipher type of mentality where there's a secret message and you're trying to figure it out, and you're using whatever information you can to get to the meaning. I'll get more into that sort of philosophy in the future. I think it's a whole kind of topic of its own, but for now let's just jump right into it. So right away here we see that we have 3 characters. The 2 on the left here, let me actually get a brush. There we go. So these 2 on the left here, you can see that they are probably Japanese characters, and this character over here is American. And the way that I know that is, well, first off, her hair is not colored, so we could assume that this is probably supposed to be blonde hair. This character over here also has a white hair, so this you may argue is blonde, but when you look at sort of the kind of general personality traits and how this character is wearing an actual American flag bikini, and there's another big clue here. There's a little text here in katakana. It says e, and then it's very elongated, and it says e. So put that all together, it becomes yay. And I don't know why, but apparently that is the image of Americans seen from Japan. I mean, I guess I could take some guesses to why, but it's sort of like the image of Americans that they're very kind of boisterous and outgoing and excitable. So the general summary of American and Japanese is just like yay. They have that very like, you know, you go like I've actually seen Japanese people approach Americans, and they when they see that you're American, they'll just say yay, and you're supposed to respond yay, and you know that's the gist of that. So I don't know. This is kind of another clue that this is supposed to be American character. So we go over here, and the next clue that really seals the deal is when she says her name here in the dialogue box. Let me switch back to my like linear. Here we go. That works. So we have a, I, O, wa, and this is all in katakana, which is telling us that this is not a Japanese term. So a, I, O, wa, Iowa. So I believe this is saying Iowa. And then underneath that we have sa, n. So that's san. And now san is the prefix that we put at the end of people's names. So now we know that this is the name, probably the name of the person that she's looking at. And her name is Iowa-san. I don't know many Americans named Iowa, but it does sound like something that a Japanese person might think an American could be named. I don't know. Or maybe that's a joke because maybe she came from Iowa. I don't know. Maybe it's a series. I don't know what the context of that is. But so this is a person named Iowa. And she says, here's in kanji, so don't feel bad if you don't get that. But this is saying seijoki, which is, so we have star, and then stripes and flag. So it's the star and stripes flag. And then underneath that we have in katakana again, because this is a non-Japanese term here. Wait for it, you could probably figure this out. Bi, ki, ni. Got any guesses? Yes, it is talking about the star and stripes bikini that Iowa-san is wearing. So once again, that's illustrating how katakana is used here to specify that this is a non-Japanese term. It kind of gives you that kind of heads up, like, okay, think of this in terms of non-Japanese terms, and you'll probably be able to figure it out. And now we have ga. These are particles. We'll get to that in future videos. It's kind of just the grammar. Then kanji again, niao ne. So niao, just means it looks good on you. So she's saying like, oh, like Iowa-san looks really good. You look really good with that that star, or Iowa-san looks really good with that star and stripes flag bikini. And then her friend says, desu ne, like, yeah, you're right, like, definitely, you know, it's just kind of like a confirmation. It's a way of like confirming another person's statement. Oh, and yeah, give you a second to look over that if you are still learning, if you're learning the hiragana, because we have the te. This is the hiragana for te, but since we have the 10-10 in the right corner here, we know that it's voiced, which turns the T sound into a D sound, so we have de. And then, so we have de, su. So that's a very common word, desu. It is. So it is so, basically, is what this is saying. Like, that, what you said is, right? And then ne is just like a confirmation. It's just like a way of softening the end and saying like, I agree with you, like desu ne, you know. And we'll go more into the grammar in future episodes, so in the actual formal lessons. So now on to our next scene here. She says ro chan. So now once again, chan is like san, but it's just a cuter, it's kind of like a more endearing term. And ro, this is a hiragana, so this is probably a Japanese name, we could guess. So ro-chan is, I'm assuming it's this girl's name. I think she's probably referring to herself in third person. Girls do that to some extent in Japan to kind of like be cute. You'll see that in a lot of comics and just in general, like when you have like a cute character, they might refer to themselves in third person. Kids do that too a lot. So ro-chan, mo. So ro-chan is her. So like me, mo means also. So me too. Nihon. So now this is an interesting case because this is Nihon, which means Japan, and it would usually be written in kanji. So, but now it's written in katakana. So this will illustrate one more way that katakana is used. Katakana is used either to specify a non-Japanese term, or it can be used as sort of like an italicized, like italics, to just kind of like stress a word. So it is a Japanese word, but it's being stressed in katakana. So you will see that from time to time. No, this is a possessive. I won't go too much into the grammar for this, but okay, say Nihon no kuni. Nihon no Koki, I believe that's how it's pronounced. We have two kanji. One is kuni for country, and then the next is flag. So you put those together, it becomes koki. So Nihon no koki o shiroi Mizuki ni kaite mimasu. So now what she's doing is she wants to also have her country flag as her swimming suit. So she got a white swimming suit, and she's going to draw the Japanese flag on it. Sounds like a good idea, right? What could go wrong? And we have and over here we have again B. Dang it! What just happened? Come on, give me my. Why is you turned into that? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. So then over here we have once again the same word you saw earlier, bikini dato. Bikini dato mannaka. So mannaka means the middle. Oh, akaku. And this is one of our study words. If you watched my first lesson, akai is red, and then akaku means how do I describe the difference between? That'll be a grammar point in the future. Just remember this is red, right? Mannaka o akaku shizurai kara kono katachi de. So she's having a little trouble drawing the red, so she's just gonna kind of do in this. So she's just kind of talking to herself as she's brushing in the red sun of the Japanese flag onto her bikini. And then we go forward, and she says, "Are," which is like so are. That's just basically a exclamation of surprise. Are, chotto, so a little bit. Nijinjatta, So it bled a little bit. The colors bled a little bit. Ma, and then ma is like another it's like an expression of relief, I guess, or like just like oh well, you know. Ma, kore de ii kana. So I guess this will do. Kore de ii kana. We go down to the go down to the finale. We have another expression. Whoa. So whoa, oh. So express it together. Whoa. That's just an expression, just an exclamation, right? And you can see this is the back of one of her friend's heads, I think, as she sees her, and she says, "Ha ra ki ri, harakiri." And some of you may know what that means. And another thing to note here real quick is that this is in katakana again. So this is actually a Japanese word, but they're putting it in katakana to give emphasis to it, to kind of stress it. It's kind of like italicizing the word more or less. And you can see with these kind of like marks here that her friend is very shocked. You have like the sweat coming down her head here, and like the bikuri, and these sort of excited like linear things going on here. And then the response is hara nani. So she gets so she's just repeating the word back that she heard and saying like a hara what. So her friend sees her, is like, whoa, harakiri, and then her response is a hara what, you know. And if you are familiar with harakiri is the kind of the traditional way to commit suicide in old feudal Japan, where you would take a sword to your gut and like cut your guts open, and you can see from the illustration here why she may have come to that conclusion with the way that this kind of like, remember that the Japanese flag is red, so we have this like red bleeding spot coming out from her stomach like so. So you could imagine where that might be a little shocking. So that is the comic. Go ahead and try to check out some comics on your own. Also, anything you can do in Japanese, try it out. Play video games in Japanese too. I may actually put some video games on here in the future too that incorporate Japanese. But anyways, let me know if that was useful. But anyways, let me know if that was useful to you. Let me know of any ideas you might have for future videos. And keep studying, live boldly, and be creative. Till next time, yoroshiku.